Hello everybody, it's Mr. Cooper here, the Primary Principal, and welcome to Day 2, Episode 2 of my Primary Principal blog. As I said yesterday, I'm going to be creating a few of these blogs this week just to give you some updates of how our first week is going, how our children are settling in, how our remote learners are settling in, and any kind of improvements and things that we're looking to make over the next few days. After this week, I will then limit the amount of vlogs that I do each week to kind of one per week to keep giving you those updates and keep you informed. But this week I want to give you a few more frequent updates. So first of all, it is day 2 of our back to school. The children have arrived again really safely. I had a brilliant day, but most importantly, at the same time, we've also had our remote learners join in. So this was the first day of live teaching, both face-to-face and for our remote learners. So the way it is working is our teachers are live streaming their lessons, both with their neighbouring classrooms, but also with our remote learners at home. I'm sure there was some brilliant examples. Well, I know for a fact there were some brilliant examples of some great teaching and learning going on. But I also know there will be some technical difficulties that have occurred. That's only natural when you're trying to teach 3 groups of children at the same time, remote learners and then the 2 different groups of students in school. But we're looking to make sure we iron those out over the next few days. So again, make sure if you're remote learning that you're just being patient, and we'll make sure that we get up and running as soon as possible for all of the different live streams. It's also worth taking into account, obviously we have children in classrooms, and so things happen that are a bit unpredictable, and so teachers may need to step away from a session just for a second to deal with a student, and then we'll obviously return back. But all in all, it has been absolutely brilliant today. I walked into a Year 3 lesson and I was blown away by the learning that was taking place on day 1 of this kind of remote learning, this hybrid learning as we're calling it at the moment, a combination of remote learning and live teaching. I walked in to this Year 3 lesson to see children with their maths resources individual on their tables, so no one else has to touch it. Watching the teacher who was next door live on the webcam, who was teaching them how to use these maths resources. They were copying what she was doing on the screen, and then also on the screen at the bottom we could see all the remote learners joining in as well. And I just had to take a second to just reflect on how amazing that is to be able to deliver that type of learning both for our remote learners and our children in school in a really safe way, but equally as effectively as normal. You know, the children were using those resources and enjoying their learning, which is the most important thing. So I was absolutely blown away, and there were many examples of that type of teaching going on today, and it's only going to get better. You know, this is day 1. Teachers were finding better ways of working than the first lesson, and improving things throughout the day. They were finding issues that were arising during the first day, and so it's only going to get better, which I'm really excited about. I was absolutely blown away today. A few just things to touch upon. It'd be also really great. There was a few issues with our Year 4, 5 and 6 children. They were arriving with their iPads not necessarily fully charged. And so can I just make a request that all our children who are in Year 4, 5 and 6 bringing their iPad in, make sure that it's 100% charged, it's charged overnight, so that when they bring it in, it's at 100% battery, because a few lessons this afternoon, when they were required to use their iPad, we had a few iPads that had run out of charge, and so it was a bit more challenging allowing them to access some of the learning. That doesn't mean that their children are using their iPad every single lesson. That's not the case. We're doing obviously face-to-face teaching as well, but there will be times when the children will need to use their iPads to access the parts of learning, because we're doing remote learning and face-to-face teaching at the same time. So please make sure that the iPads are fully charged. And if you have a power bank at home, if you think that actually your iPad's a bit older and it runs out of charge quite quickly, then feel free for the child to bring in their power bank as well, so that they can charge up their iPad throughout the day. So that's for Years 4, 5 and 6. The final thing is just our pick-up and drop-off time. So I had a few parents just speaking to me this morning asking about pick-up time. So for this week only, we have a staggered start, which is spread over from 7:25 to, I believe, our Year 6s, our Year 5s, our Year 4s and Year 3s, and our 1s and 2s arriving at 8:15. That's the very latest. And the reason why we've done that is obviously we want to make sure there's lots of time for children to arrive. in school safely. We spread that arrival time out, which means children are arriving less as large groups, and so we can maintain that social distancing while children are still finding their way in terms of navigating around the school. And we don't want any children wandering around the school on their own, so it's important that we stagger those starts to make sure all the children know where they're going and can arrive to their classes safely. As of next week, that will of course change back to normal once children are more familiar with where they're going. And our year 4, 5 and 6s as of tomorrow can now start heading into school on their own. That also means that they don't necessarily have to enter via the front entrance. So for example, if you have a child in year 1 or year 2 and they're meeting their teachers in the side entrance, our year 4, 5 and 6 children can also enter through that door as the year 1s and 2s and make their own way up to their classrooms. There are thermal cameras at both the year 1 and 2 entrance and at that front entrance. So it doesn't matter for year 4, 5 and 6. They can enter either way as of tomorrow because they now know where to find their classrooms. Our teachers are all around the building navigating and guiding those children around. And so that should hopefully allow our parents to arrive and drop off their children a bit more easily. Our year 3 children will still meet their teachers outside of the front entrance, just so that they can be guided in more with their teachers. In terms of finishing times, we obviously also have a slight staggered finish. So some of our children are arriving at the end of each day at 3, 5 or 3:10. Again, just to spread out that end of day, just so the children are not all leaving the school at the same time. And one thing that I must highlight and just remind all parents is that on Thursday, a normal time finish will be... We'll have a normal time finish, which is at 1 o'clock, 1 p.m. But again, that stagger will occur from 1 p.m, 1:05 and 1:10. So please make sure you are waiting in your child's place at those times at 1 o'clock, 1:05 or 1:10 on Thursday. All that information is in the guide, so please make sure you refer back to that. And I'll also be posting on Facebook a reminder as well of those times. So please refer to that page tomorrow and a Wednesday evening for those times for Thursday. And I think that's it. So once again, we've had a brilliant day. I've really enjoyed seeing all the children in class, but more importantly, I've also really enjoyed seeing the innovative teaching that is now taking place with remote learning happening, as well as this hybrid learning of children being in 2 different classrooms and this live streaming taking place. So we're really impressed. So the teachers and all the children, I'm sure, are going home now to have a well-earned rest, and I look forward to seeing you all tomorrow, bright and early, for another exciting day here at the Academy. Have a really good evening.